This is the beginning of our second season, and we're in a new studio, and we're excited about the prospects for this new year. Looking back on 1974, I think it's fair to say that it was a year when apparently powerful men and nations crumbled from power. Richard Nixon, of course, and his friends were exiled from the government of the United States. In Ethiopia, the Emperor Haile Selassie was overthrown, and on the level of nations, the Western powers were humbled and wounded by the arrogant countries of the Arab oil cartel. But of all the crashes from power, to me, the most unexpected and, in a tragic way, the most comical was that suffered by a congressman from the great state of Arkansas. Once a leading contender for the presidency of the United States, the chairman of the all-powerful Ways and Means Committee, Wilbur Mills. To put it simply, Wilbur was caught red-handed. He was apparently drunk, and he was cheating on his own sober, serious image. Well, after the heartache that the nation went through with the Watergate tragedy, it was almost a relief to have a deliciously simple and old-fashioned sex scandal on our hands again. Well, tonight, the Mata Hari behind the tidal basin follies, Annabelle Battistella, also known as the Argentine firecracker, also known as Miss Fanny Fox, is here. Fanny Fox. And for really the first time, she's going to tell the whole story behind Wilbur's decline and fall. But now, a love story for the 70s, Fanny and Wilbur. Before October 7th, 1974, Annabelle Battistella was a relatively unknown striptease dancer at a sleazy Washington, D.C. nightclub called the Silver Slipper. It was there that she first met Wilbur. That was in July of 1973. According to the employees of the club, they were often seen together at a corner table near the emergency exit. Sometimes they were drinking heavily and talking boisterously. Well, at 2 a.m. on the 7th of October last year, what up to then had been the private activities of this couple became public interest when a car they were in was stopped for speeding. Annabelle jumped out of the car and she jumped into the Washington, D.C. tidal basin. Word of the drunken frolic hit the front pages of just about every newspaper in the world, and as you know, it's had a profound effect on the lives and careers of both Wilbur Mills and Miss Battistella. After laughing it up, the nation was almost ready to forgive Mr. Mills for his indiscretion. That is, until he appeared on stage with Fanny during her act at the Pilgrim Theater in Boston. That weekend, Mills was quoted as saying, "This won't ruin me. Nothing can ruin me." 3 days later, he said that his statements of the previous weekend were plainly those of a man in an inebriated state. Now remember, in the midst of all this publicity, Mills was also running for re-election. He had to attend to some very tough campaigning.
The report also said that the woman in question had a couple of black eyes. Do you know how she got them?
I have no idea.
There has also been a lot of reporting now that you had frequented the Silver Slipper and other sleazy night places.
That'll come out later on.
The police report said that you were intoxicated. Were you?
I don't think so. I think I was a little high on some champagne.
Mills won the election, but he still had to answer for his unusual activities.
We appreciate the people of the district who once again seen fit to elect us apparently to another term in the Congress. We're very thankful for what's happened.
Congressman, we still haven't gotten down to the tidal basin incident.
No,
and
I'm
your
not gonna
feelings
talk
about that.
it.
Now, you must have an idea of how much it might have hurt your campaign.
I have no idea.
Do you think it did hurt your campaign,
I don't know.
Congressman?
I don't know.
Although he won the election, his antics finally cost Mills his position as chairman of the House Ways and Means Committee. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the tidal basin bombshell herself, Miss Fanny Fox. That's a warm reception.
Beautiful.
I know you prefer to be called Anna.
Yes.
I have to say that I met Anna previously. A week or so ago, she invited me to Washington when I first asked her to be on the program, and she showed me a side of her that That's not exactly the way I intended that to sound. But she showed me a side of her that hadn't been seen in the films that you just saw, you wise guys on the balcony. And she made me a nice Italian dinner. It was really...
Yeah.
I want you to tell me. You're going to tell me the whole story tonight. And you've been in the, in the press so much over the last 2 months. But I think the story that has emerged and the image of you that has come out is a dishonest one. And tonight you're going to tell exactly what happened and exactly what your relationship was with Mr. Mills. And I think a good place to start is at the night of the tidal basin incident. What really happened that night, I guess October 7th last year, when you kind of got caught there?
Yes, we got caught, all right.
All right. How did the evening start?
We went to have dinner at a restaurant called the Junkanoo in Washington, D.C. It was supposed to be a dinner party for my cousin. She was returning to Argentina.
Mm-hmm.
That's...
All right. So you were at this restaurant, and you were having dinner. How many people were there in your party?
7.
7 people sitting at a
Yes.
table. Then what happened? I mean, after...
Well, we started drinking and dancing. Mm-hmm. Show was nice there. And I felt like dancing with the other people, too,
You wanted to dance with people other than Mr. Mills?
Yes.
Was Mrs. Mills there that night?
No, she was not there.
What did Mr. Mills say when you told him that you wanted to dance with other men?
Well, at the time he was dancing with other girls.
Uh-huh.
So and then I went to dance, and he says, well, you didn't want to dance with me, and now here you are dancing with somebody else.
Uh-huh.
So when I felt, and they can dance maybe better than you because you're not very much yourself tonight.
You didn't think that he was acting himself?
Yes, that's right.
Did you have an argument?
Yes, we did. Not a big argument, just a little argument, and I went to the bar to have a drink. Then as I returned to the table, everything seemed to be normal again.
Mm-hmm.
Then we started again.
You started fighting again?
Yes.
Then what happened?
And I decided at that point to go home. The manager of the club walked me to the door and looked for my car. As I did that, Mr. Mills and the rest of the people were coming out of the restaurant.
Right.
And I really wanted to drive. I felt that I could at that time.
Were you high then?
Yes, I was.
Was Mr. Mills also high?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Then you wanted to drive the car?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I wanted to drive, and he says then I was in no condition of driving the car. I really thought that I was. I don't think I was really.
Okay, so you got into the car.
Yes.
Make a long story short, and then what happened?
And well, as we started going to toward Virginia,
right.
I don't know why Mr. Capaldi took that way,
Right. That was the person
tidal
driving
basin.
the car.
Yes.
One of the other men was driving
Yes.
toward Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
You live in Arlington, Virginia.
In Arlington, yes, we had to go by the Jefferson Memorial.
And where were you sitting?
I was sitting at the front by the window, and Mr. Mills in the middle.
Oh, Mr. Mills was in the middle, you were by the
Yes.
window, and another man was driving.
Yes.
Then what happened
And
as you
I
were
was
driving
trying to
toward
reach for
Virginia?
the wheels and the keys, so I would stop the car because I really want to drive the car.
All right,
And
so you
well,
were reaching
Mr.
for the keys.
Yes.
So the car was apparently swerving.
Yes, all around, all over the streets.
Okay, now, I want to get all the facts in this story, and we'll get them as soon as we come back from this short commercial message right after this. We'll be right back. My guest is Miss Fanny Fox, also, or her real name, Annabelle Battistella, Anna. All right, you're in this car, and you were grabbing for the keys, and that was evidently making the car swerve on the highway.
Yes.
Then what happened?
I think at that point the police officers spotted us on Connecticut Avenue and started following us.
Right, the
But
police
we
started
were
trailing
not,
you.
Yes, we didn't know about it until we got to the bridge. And so Mr. Mills and I started really having more than an argument, a fight.
You started slugging each other.
Yes.
Did you hit him?
Yes, I did.
Did he hit you back?
Yes.
Is that how you got the 2 black eyes?
Yes, I only have 2.
Well, maybe the chairman of the House Ways and Means Committee could have figured out how to give you 3 black eyes. All right, so the policeman pulled you over, evidently.
Yes.
Okay, then what happened?
Well, I really, at that point, I wanted to get out of the car and talk to the police officer and tell him that I was responsible for what happened. I didn't want anybody to get near the car and see Mr. Mills there. And he didn't want me to get out of the car, but I did. I started talking to the officers, and they really ignored me completely. Mm-hmm. And so I climbed into this 5 feet tall little wall around the bridge.
Right, you climbed over the bridge on the...
Yes, and okay. I
jumped into the water.
Yes.
This was in October, and I'm just really curious as to where you were going to swim to.
I don't know, I just want to get away from the scene.
You lived in Virginia. Did you think you would swim from Washington to Virginia across the water?
No, the river is too far away from my home.
Okay. How did you respond to the reaction to that incident?
Well, I really didn't know much about it because I was home. I didn't want to get out with those black eyes, you know. And my brother-in-law called me from Uruguay and said, "What happened? You tried to kill yourself."
From Uruguay in South
From
America?
Uruguay.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "No, I didn't try to kill myself. Just don't be silly. It's nothing wrong. I just let you know as soon as I know something because I don't know anything." And he said, "Well, you are over the papers here and the radio and TV, and I was really worried about it. And so is your sister." That's the first time I really knew about that.
How did you meet Mr. Mills? I know you didn't meet in an elevator. I mean, that's the story that's been around, but how did you really meet?
Well, I was working in the Silver Slipper after...
In the Silver Slipper?
Yes, after I returned from Argentina. That was my second week in the Silver Slipper. And Mr. Mills came with a group.
Of other people?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And after I went to stage, he saw me dance, and he asked, waited to meet me. Mm-hmm. And I was called to the table, and that's how I met him.
Now, the Silver Slippers, it's always described as a sleazy strip joint. Is that, in fact, what it was?
It's a burlesque house.
A burlesque house?
Yes.
And you were a stripper, and he was in the audience, and he spotted you, and he said,
"Yes.
Maitre d', bring that lady over here."
Yes.
Something to that effect. Then you began a relationship?
Yes.
This point is rather ambiguous so far in the 2.5 months that have passed since the incident, but were you, well, describe the relationship you had with Mr. Mills.
Well, for some time we were very close friends, you know. Really.
Were you intimate in, you know?
Geraldo.
You weren't in the same den in the Cub Scouts. I mean, you were really...
We had a very close relationship.
You were lovers.
We love each other very much.
Do you still love Mr. Mills?
I still love Mr. Mills very much.
How is he?
How is he doing, you mean? Mm-hmm. He's doing very well.
I have to say that with Anna, I visited Mr. Mills in Bethesda Naval Hospital, and we asked him if he would come on the program with Anna to kind of set the record straight. He first said yes and then no. Let me ask, do you feel kind of bad about what's happened to him in all this?
In a way I do, yes, you know, being so important, but in a way I don't, because he needed this rest. He needs to get away from all that. I really think so. He's awfully tired. He's been working very, very hard. I really mean this. Tired from working, you know. I think it's time for him to do something different.
Did you continue dancing after you met Mr. Mills?
Yes, for a little while.
How did he feel about that?
Well, he didn't feel so well about that. He didn't like the idea of...
Was he kind of a jealous man?
Yes, I would say he was.
But where was Mrs. Mills when all this was going on?
Mrs. Mills she was visiting with her children.
Do you intend to still see Mr. Mills?
Yes, I intend to.
In what capacity, so to speak? I mean, are you friends now, or are you still kind of, you know, in love with each other, or?
I think it's the same relationship it was before.
How does Polly feel about you?
At this point, I really don't know, especially after the Boston problem, before we were friends.
What made Mr. Mills go to the Pilgrim Theater in Boston and go on stage in what is a burlesque house? What?
I don't know really, but I guess it's because at that time he was he was drinking.
He was drinking?
Yes.
But didn't he realize that he was throwing away his whole political career?
I just can't tell you. I don't think so.
You don't think that ever dawned on him?
No.
The seedy life that surrounds striptease joints. It's kind of tacky atmosphere, really. But even worse than that, drugs are often associated with the strippers, and a lot of them go into prostitution. It's just part of it certainly is part of the life here, 42nd Street, for instance. Oftentimes a stripper gets hooked and she starts prostituting herself to get money to feed her habit, etc. How did you stay away from that?
I sort of have a double life. I have a husband for a long time, 19 years, and 3 really nice children that I had to raise, and the same way I was raised. And it was not really hard, because once I left the club and I went home, that was my castle, and you saw it, and I'd really managed very well, and it wasn't really hard to do that.
How did your children respond to everything that happened? Well, let me ask you first, what happened to Mr. Battistella?
We are divorced now, for the past 3 months. We've been divorced.
Did Mr. Mills have anything to do with that?
It's hard to say. We haven't been having a good relationship for the past few years. But back in November, when Mr. Mills moved to the apartment where I live, my husband took another apartment in the same building. And finally, 6 months ago, he moved to Argentina.
To Argentina?
Yes.
Okay. I want to ask you that question again about your kids, yes. your beautiful kids, and then about what you have planned for yourself, and, a little bit more about Miss Fanny Fox in a couple of minutes when we come back. I had asked Anna just before we broke for commercial how her children had responded to all the incredible publicity surrounding the liaison between you and Mr. Mills, particularly because so much of it was unflattering. So many people took, I guess, kind of cheap shots at you, and they said some very ugly things about you, and how did the kids respond?
Well, at the beginning it wasn't so bad because they didn't know much about what happened. They just referred to the incident in the tidal basin. So the children were sort of happy seeing me in the news and television and the papers. It was fun. And after really they started digging and tried to find something else, they really felt bad. I can tell them. They say, "Mommy, this is not truth. We know you, and this, we know Mr. Mills." And they felt bad for a little while until I started dancing again, and all this publicity started. Now having a much better opportunity to do what I want to do, they really feel happy.
Okay.